Hello and welcome everybody to today's video and to my return after a bit of a leave of absence. I'm sorry for not being around for the last little while. I got a new job, things were changing a lot, so didn't have a lot of opportunity to make videos, but excited to get back into it, especially considering that we've had probably the three most exciting races of the recent memory in the last little while, and it's been a pain for me not to be able to talk about it with whoever wants to join me. So I'll start this video just by running down my thoughts on what's going on in F1 right now and sort of talk about maybe where the channel is going hopefully in the next little while, as things have changed a little bit and I've been away for a little while. So we'll start off with the obvious, Austria, Britain, and Germany. Germany being probably one of the top 5 races of the decade in my opinion, just a great all-around race to watch. Austria sort of fades into the back of your mind after Silverstone and Germany equaling that kind of excitement, but I think what a race in Austria. A little bit of contention there near the end between Leclerc and Verstappen, great to see, and I love the response in Silverstone where you had the field kind of go, okay, well, if that's allowed the way that Max passed Leclerc, not saying it was illegal or anything, I thought it was a great racing move, and I think that Leclerc got off of his line and made a bit of a rookie mistake. Well, he's not a rookie, but a young driver mistake, I'll say, in that part, at least on that lap. He had done a great job fighting back against Verstappen the lap before, but I like how the entire grid sort of observed that and went, okay, well, if close racing is allowed to have a little bit of touching now, that's what we'll do. And I think I don't like to see crashes, but I do love to see close racing, and if cars bump a little bit, you know what? I think that's part of the racing, and I think it really puts some excitement into it for the fans. And on to Germany. Just, what can you say? It was like a Canada 2011, not quite as long, but let me tell you, like halfway through the race, around lap 32, I was going, it's only halfway through. You know, so much had happened up to that point. I really liked the drag strip on the outside, and I'm probably in the minority saying that, but what a bit of excitement that put into the race. And you get a lot of drivers who are saying things like, well, just put a wall there and then no one will extend the track. And then they put something like that out there and the drivers are complaining about it. And from my perspective, I mean, the teams are probably telling them, hey, look, there's guys having trouble on that corner, especially Leclerc, who was outspoken about that drag strip after the race. He actually went off there 2 times before the 3rd time really caught him out. So, I mean, you're making that mistake well on your own and doing it multiple times. So I thought, first time he did it, okay, you got away with it. Second time, okay, you're getting a bit dangerous. 3rd time, you end up in the wall. So really, what can you say about that? You know, for all this talk of, oh, we want you know, just fair track limits and there's too much runoff nowadays and people are extending the corners. It's like you get a corner like that where you just simply can't extend it. And look how many people it caught out. And I don't think any of the crashes were dangerous. I don't think any of the drivers were in serious trouble, and that's part of the reason why I don't mind it. You know, they were all low-speed incidents. It wasn't as though guys were flying off at 160 and nearly destroying the wall in the car. You know, these were low-speed impacts. In fact, a lot of the people that couldn't get going, it was because they beached the car in the gravel. You know, Norris went off there and just managed to stop the car, didn't get into the gravel, managed to get out of there fine. Kimi Räikkönen showed you how to actually catch a car in situations like that, and just counter-steered it when he found the grip. You can see him counter-steering, finding the grip, and then he gets slowly out of there. No spin, no drama. I mean, Kimi's a special kind of driver in that respect. He's got a lot more skill and experience than the rest of the guys on the grid, so, you know, maybe there's that. But I think what a way to spice up the race and to penalize people for going over the edge. I thought it was nice to finally get a wet race this season. There was a few races where you were thinking it might happen and it wasn't happening, and I really thought it was a great thing to see, to finally spice things up a little bit more, especially after the 2 races that had just happened. You go into Germany going, well, there's no way Germany can be like an Austria or like a Britain. Well, yeah, we were all pretty wrong about that. So yeah, great to see. Awesome racing the last few races. I thought it was nice to see Williams get a point. I've been cheering for them. I love rooting for the underdog, and I thought that that was great to see, even though it was not really on merit. It was on penalty to Alpha, and there was some contention between Alpha and the FIA about the exact parameters of that penalty that they were issued. I do think it was the right call, even if it was just a setting problem. I think it did give them an undue advantage, and when you watch that start over again, you see Raikkonen jump right up into third off the bat. So while it might have been a mistake on Alpha's part, I think it was the right call to make to give them that penalty. But yeah, great result for Williams, and as I'm recording this, it's after the qualifying in Hungary, and wow, George Russell just put in an insane lap for that Williams, getting it ahead of 2 racing points. What a lap from him, what an effort, and it's nice to see them finally making inroads. They're a great team, they have a storied history, and I don't like to see teams go through things like that, especially so when they're really the last true racing team on the grid, and they're also a team that doesn't necessarily have unlimited funding like a Red Bull or Ferrari or a Mercedes. So you worry when they go into funks like they did at the beginning of this year if they're going to remain a team. And I think that the entire grid would be worse off without Williams. I think that they're one of the few people who still do it the classic way. They're one of the best teams, most storied teams on the grid, and for a sport that's lost a lot of teams over the years, you don't want to lose a pillar of the community like that. I think whatever they can do to help Williams continue in the sport, they should, because it's a great story, it's a great thing to see, and it's what I wish we saw more. Haas is probably the closest thing, but even then, I mean, Gene Haas, for anybody that knows North American racing, he's one of the biggest names in North American racing, from IndyCar to NASCAR. He's done so many things like that, and they also had their attempt at a Formula One team, I think in the 70s or 80s as well, before they decided to come back. But yeah, definitely a lot more of monetary backing there. So it's just nice to see those individual teams doing things like that. So I'll offer a couple cursory thoughts as well, since I think that the direction of the channel in the near future will be some real-life F1 content and some video game F1 content. I might venture into maybe some NHL stuff during the regular season playoffs of the NHL. That is the sport that I grew up with, and probably my favorite sport, even though Formula One is right up there and barely a second place. Auto racing in general, I'd say, and that's probably the thing that differentiates Formula One and the NHL. Is I'm more of an auto racing fan than just particularly a Formula One fan. And with the NHL, it's I do watch some other levels, but the NHL is sort of just the be-all end-all of hockey when you want to watch exciting stuff on ice. So might do some of that in the future, but just to offer some cursory thoughts on F1 2019 as it came out while I was away and didn't really get a chance to talk about it. I will make a full video discussing it, but right off the bat, just for a few sort of general points, I think they did a great job with the game. A lot of advances in the right direction, a lot of steps that definitely needed to be taken. There are still some glaring issues, and definitely there'll be another My Problems with video for this game. So there are some things that you could nitpick a little bit, but in general I think that they've done a great job with the game, modernizing the game and really moving it in a good direction. And I think it's great, the esports involvement. I think I watched the Into the Barrier review. He's one of the funniest F1 YouTubers, definitely a different drink than the rest of the guys that you normally consume for F1 content. And he was saying that in his review, though it was mostly a joke at the end, he said it was kind of alienating the casual fans, and I can feel that. Although I wouldn't call myself just like a casual gamer. I do play a decent bit of the game. I think it is becoming more and more complex, and that there are things that they can address for the everyday gamer, the Joe who maybe just sits down once a week on his console. So we'll talk about all that in another video, but overall I think the game is very well done. A lot different from 2018, feels different, the cars act different, different elements to career mode, different elements to online, and having the F2 is just amazing. And You know, just a thought off the top here. Like, I so hope that one day they give you a career mode option where, just like in a lot of other sports games, you can either start your career in the big leagues or you can work your way up. Like, I'd love to work your way up from karting as a young kid into Formula 4s, Formula 3, maybe do like different branches of your career that you can do in different areas of the world to get better recognition from certain teams. But, you know, what a thing to have where you can start out in Formula 2, even if it is sort of just 3 sort of contrived general events that you get kind of dropped in the middle of. I think it's a step in the right direction. So hopefully there'll be a lot more content regularly coming up. Some of it, like I said, real F1, some of it virtual F1, and just try to get sort of a consistent rhythm down. Working now, there's less ability for me to make consistent videos. My old job offered me a bit more freedom because I was able to work from home a lot. So there's going to be a little bit of a different workflow from the YouTube side, but hopefully I'll be able to put up some videos for you guys to enjoy, and hopefully you do enjoy. So thank you so much for joining. It's great to talk to you guys again, and to whoever is listening, have a great day, and I hope to talk to you soon. Goodbye.